Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible, Class 5 at Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville. It is Monday, June 17, 2019. And we always begin with a spiritual mind treatment. So take a deep breath and let it out. And then continue to breathe just easily in and out as we let go of the day. We let go of any drama, any trauma, any confusion, any questions. And simply know that there is one presence and one power in the entire universe and beyond. It is light, it is love, it is joy. We live in a vibratory and reflective universe. This vibration, this creative force, is all that there is. And since it is all that there is, when it manifests itself in form, it becomes that which it has created. So whatever the light is, whatever the love is, whatever spirit is, whatever God is, it becomes physical form. And so I know that all of time and space and universe layers and heaven and earth is all the manifest body of the divine. And I know that we too are individualized points of awareness of spirit. And so I know that as that point of the divine, we are all of the divine, and all of the divine is us. And so I claim and affirm for all of us today this life of health and wholeness and prosperity and love and joy. I know that the life of God is our life now. And I know that we learn whatever it is we need to learn, we incorporate whatever we need to incorporate into our lives, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And so with great gratitude for this class, for our classmates, for Center for Spiritual Living Asheville, and for the books of the Bible, I simply release this treatment into all that God is, because I know that God is all. As together we say, and so it is. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Come on in, David. So let me just overt that the room is hot. At least the room is not air conditioned. We had a small fire. The fire department left after 6, and the air conditioner that serves this room kind of burned up in the back, and then sucked up all kinds of smoke and blew it into the room. So when Rick called me at 5, I came over and you could smell the fire, but we didn't know where it was, so I called the fire department. And God bless firemen, you know, they come in with their oxygen tanks and their axes, and they're ready to do whatever needs to be done to take care of the fire. And they went around with this cool machine that can read the walls and the ceiling and see if there's a fire in there. And they found out that it was the air conditioner in the back. So everything is shut off, and if we want to, we can open up this door, which will give us a little bit more breeze, but it will also give us a little bit more bugs. So it will be our choice.
It's perfect.
Good. Do you have any questions or comments about last week's class? It was awesome. It was great. Yes. Okay, no questions, no specific comments about the material. Okay, we're done with the Old Testament then, and we're moving into the New Testament, and the first place that I want to start is the very famous Beatitudes, which is part of the Sermon on the Mount, and it is the 9 B-E-A-T-I-T-U-D-E-S, Beatitudes, and they are blessings. And remember, Jesus. Before I get into that, this is a very cool book that I have called Idioms of the Bible Explained. This is from George Lomsa. George Lomsa was born and raised in the same part of the world that Jesus was. I'm not exactly sure what the countries are called now. He grew up speaking Aramaic. And then he came to the States, and he went to college, and he was a Bible scholar. But he decided that he wanted to take those findings that were found in Egypt in the Nag Hammadi finds, and also the Dead Sea Scrolls that were found buried in big clay urns by the Dead Sea, and he wanted to retranslate all of that. So he actually has a Bible, the entire Bible, retranslated from the Aramaic, and it says some very different things than we have heard all of our lives. But this is a book that I found very handy. It just gives you the idioms and then explains what they really mean. I also did some research into these 9 Beatitudes because there wasn't a lot of material to work with, so I did some research, and I got the original translations of the Aramaic, not from George Lomsa, but from Google, and could see where things really were mistranslated and gave a completely different idea of what we have been led to believe. And some of these Beatitudes for me, don't really foster the kind of life I want to live. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. I don't want to be persecuted. I don't want to be a martyr. I don't want to feel good about being persecuted. Oh, look at me, I'm persecuted. No, I don't want to be persecuted. So the retranslation of some of those was very life-affirming and enlightening. And we'll go through all of that. But I wanted you to know that I've got this great book. If you want to look at it during the break, you're welcome to. One of them is poor in spirit in Matthew 5:3, which is one of the first beatitude. He says, poor in spirit actually means poor in pride or humble. Now, rather than being poor in spirit, where I'm going to be depressed, miserable, lacking spirit of some nature, I'm going to be poor in pride, meaning my ego's not going to take over everything, and I'm going to be humble. So in being humble and having my ego in check, I'm going to be able to make more progress on the spiritual path. You see how that works? So I want you to feel free to ask questions or comment about them as we go through them. So it starts off in Matthew 5, seeing the crowds, Jesus went up on the mountain. What does that mean?
Higher consciousness.
Higher consciousness. What are people? Thoughts. So seeing these thoughts, what were there? Supposedly 5,000, because that's what the loaves and the fishes fed. Supposedly 5,000 thoughts, seeing them, and you can kind of see that Jesus was, Sermon on the Mount. He was on the Mount. He's looking down at all of these thoughts. He decided not to go join those thoughts, but to go up in consciousness. So why do you think he did that? To what? Well, he didn't elevate their understanding yet. Who did he elevate? Who went up on the mountain? Himself. He didn't jump into all of those, you can say, normal thoughts, or maybe they're lower level thoughts, if he's looking down at them, I don't know. But he didn't go down there, he went up. And sometimes people say to me, you guys talk over people's heads, that really you don't understand the level of consciousness that's in the room, and you're talking over people's heads, and they're just not quite ready to hear some of the things you say, inferring that we should go down to the lowest common denominator instead of lifting the room up. And I always share that my job is not to go down in consciousness to meet someone, it's to bring them up in consciousness to meet me at that higher plane. And if that means that I lose some people, then I lose some people, but going down, I've never seen that really work. If you've noticed, the last time you got in an argument or a fight with someone and you went down into that consciousness, then you were both lost. It's like the blind leading the blind. I can do all kinds of Bible quotes tonight. So Jesus, seeing the crowd, seeing the thoughts, went up on top of the mountain. That's where all of this is coming from. And some people say these 9 verses are the most powerful things he ever said. I don't know. I think they're interesting. And when he sat down, his disciples came to him. And what that refers to is in the Judaic tradition, teachers teach sitting. They don't stand, they sit. And their students come and sit with them, and they have a conversation. It's not like a lecture. Is that true, Bill?
No, it's more like what they discuss back and forth.
Right. It's more like a Socratic.
It's just talking back and forth.
So Jesus got his space. He was up in his high level of consciousness. Doesn't say how long he was up on the mountain before he had his disciples come. He sat down, his disciples came to him, and he opened his mouth. Bill?
I think he was, in a certain sense, it was to reference Moses and to, show how he was connected to that.
Maybe.
To give him authority.
Well, I think he already had authority with his disciples. Because he's not talking to the crowds now. He's talking to the disciples. The life of Brian. Did anybody see it? Yes. Blessed are the cheesemakers. So what that infers is that the first row of the masses couldn't really hear him. And I don't know how you project to 5,000 people if that were really the case.
The way it's done is a number of people in the audience will repeat what's being said up front.
Oh, and we see how well that worked with the translations of the Bible. Way vague. So the first one is, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What does blessed mean? Special. What's a blessing? It's a gift. It's a gift of what? Is that your handy? A gift of good. What is a blessing? A gift of love.
Yes, it's a giving of knowledge. It's a broad like the giving of knowledge.
Well, the word blessed. Blessed. Sandy. Oh, you were stretching. So they have really looked at that. This is the King James Version, and other translations have substituted happy are. Happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That doesn't sound right, does it? No. Happy are. Favored are the poor in spirit. There's a newer translation that says, congratulations to the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Linda.
You just told us the poor in spirit means humble.
I know we haven't gotten there yet. Yeah. No, this whole thing doesn't make sense. And how many times, I know for me, when I was growing up in a traditional religious environment, was I coached to be poor, where I was coached to have things going wrong with the promise of, spiritual brownie points and a place in heaven. And if I suffered in this world, I would be in joy in the next. And if I was in joy in this world, chances are I would be suffering in the next world. And so it really twisted people. I remember the quote from Jesus, I have come to have life and have life. I have come that ye may have life and have life more abundantly. So he was not saying, I have come that you should die, that you should be poor, you should be broke, you should be sick, you should suffer. He didn't say that. So it sounds weird to me that he is saying, blessed are the poor in spirit. So when we look back at the words, where is it? In the Lamsa translation, poor means poor in pride or humble. The root word that is translated as spirit comes from the word ruach, which is more accurately translated pride or narcissistic pride. So blessed are the ones who don't have so much narcissistic pride. Blessed are the people that are not so wildly out of control that all they can think about is themselves. Blessed are the egomaniacs out there. You just see them saying that.
I just had a thought. I believe that when someone is called blessed, it is really referring to God. And so the blessed, the Holy One, and Jesus somewhere said something like, just went through my mind. But it's referring to God. So,
okay.
Another interpretation could be blessed, you're God, your translation of the who are humble.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have to wave me down if you want to talk.
So when it says blessed are the poor in spirit, it's basically saying gifted are the humble?
Sure.
Okay.
Gifted are the humble. That's nice, Breezy. Blessed are those who lack pridefulness. Blessed are those who have humility. So, poor in spirit, translated to poor in pride, takes it on a whole different meaning. You know, blessed are the ones that don't push their way to the front by pushing everybody else down. Blessed are the ones that can work together as a team. Blessed are the ones who can have a little compassion in their heart. And what he's doing is he's giving people some general rules with which to live. So when we are enriched, when we lack narcissistic pride, when we are teachable, when we are open and receptive to eternal truths, when we practice humility. And it is from that level of consciousness that we shall expand our understanding so we can fulfill our divine potential. Now wouldn't that have been better than blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And what is this kingdom of heaven anyway? What is a kingdom? A place, and what are places? States of consciousness. And what is heaven? A higher consciousness. And where is heaven? Right inside. Jesus said, they said, where's heaven? And Jesus said, well, if I tell you it's in the sky, then the birds will get there before you. If I tell you it's in the sea, then the fish will get there before you. It's not in the sky, it's not in the sea, it's within you. Heaven is within you. Even Pope John Francis, before he died, said heaven and hell are states of consciousness, they are not places. Again, a story that did not hit one U.S. paper. I pulled it off the Canadian paper 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And Pope Francis has also said that heaven and hell are not places. You know, we have an elderly woman transitioning in our center, and her old Catholic background has popped up, and she's scared to death that she's going to go to purgatory. And she's gone from being a new thought person to calling the priest, which is okay. You can call the priest, you can be blessed, you can have last rites, whatever it takes to set your mind at ease. But this idea of punishment, eternal punishment, is so ingrained in people. And then we look at, blessed are the poor in pride and narcissistic tendencies. Blessed are the arrogant people. I caught myself just in time not to say that other word. Blessed are the people that have flexibility and compassion and kindness and love in their hearts, because they will live in the state of consciousness that we call heaven. Isn't that different? Yeah. RJ.
When you talk about narcissism, I'm almost thinking about the religious or spiritual narcissism. Someone who feels they found the truth and becomes holier than thou and holds it over everyone else. I'm perfect if you're going to heaven.
Those are preachers. Yeah. Evangelicals are not. I mean, how many people have sat in a church and were told you were going to hell? Told that there was a fundamental flaw, a black mark on your soul, that there was something wrong with you. That's awful. So this starts everything out. He starts off by saying, yo, people, pull it in a little bit. Rein your ego in a little bit, and you have a much better chance of being happy inside. Doesn't that make perfect sense? That's, 1980s Self-Help Book 101. You can talk, I just want you to wave me down, not point a little finger and expect me to catch it.
I just wanted to say that the Jewish concept of times, these priests were very richly clothed and were very powerful and were very sure of themselves, shall we say. And he was really, questioning their
He got himself killed over it.
the state of that, and that's why they said to Pontius Pilate at the time, this man is like revolution.
This was a revolution. It took God from the vengeful God to the inner Papa. He didn't get himself killed then, he did die because India says he got his grave. So he got himself crucified over that. You done with number one? Are you good? You do not have to be poor in spirit to get brownie points and go to heaven. That's not what it means. It means pull your ego in, live in a little balance, and find that place of joy inside of yourself.
So that's all, number one, number
That's number one. Number two, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. So there's a couple of different ideas with this. What is mourning? Being sad, grieving. What may grieving have to do with the spiritual path, with your spiritual growth?
Not recognizing that you're everlasting.
Seeing an end to things. Things that you've lost. What kinds of things may end or be lost on your spiritual path? Your whole life. Your old life. Attachment. Sophia, if you want to be heard, you're going to have to speak louder, okay? So attachments, your old life. Think about your spiritual path. What have you lost?
Old beliefs.
Lose your way, old beliefs. Faith, lose your faith. And what happens after you've gone through that loss? Why would mourning be a blessing?
Opens you up to new.
It opens you up to new. So one kind of translation may be meaning, don't kid yourself, folks, you're going to lose a lot on this spiritual path. You're going to have to let go of a lot of things. You might have to let go of a lot of people in your life. You may need to let go of how you see yourself in your life. You may need to let go of your stories in your life. So you might as well prepare for it, and for every loss there is always what? A gain. There's always a gain. So what kinds of things have you gained through your mourning, through your loss?
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. You've lost your faith and found peace of mind. Clarity, freedom, self-respect, love.
I just want to ask real quick, you said blessed are those who mourn what?
For they shall be comforted. Get your phone and Google Beatitudes, and you can follow along.
I don't have a phone.
You don't have a smartphone?
No.
I love Google.
Can you spell it again?
Beatitudes. I guess I could write this down.
Thank you.
You have a whiteboard back there. This is the Beatitudes. Beatitudes. It's the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount. So when we lose things, we open up a way to have different experiences, hopefully better experiences. When I was studying Native American teachings with Rocking Bear, he would always teach us to wear death on our shoulder. He said, at any moment you should be ready to die. Clean up every relationship in your life, take care of what needs to be taken care of, live in the moment, and know that you can lose everything. That's why Native people say, today is a good day to die. Not to pie. Today is a good day to die. And so you're taking care of what needs to be taken care of. You're letting go of what needs to be let go of.
There we go.
John's in an MRI, so I brought the phone in. So you're letting go of what needs to be let go of, and you're opening up the door for transformation. And anybody who's done any kind of growing, whether it's self-help, whether it's therapy, whether it's 12-step, whether it's science of mind, you know that you've got to let go of a bunch of stuff. You can't hold on to the old and create a new. You got to let go of the old, and sometimes that's painful. So that's one of the translations of this. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. What is comforted? You'll find peace. You'll feel better. This isn't going to last forever. It came to pass and not to stay. So there will be an end to it, and you will be glad in the long run for having gone through that. I mean, how many people have let go of addictions in their life? Are you better off for it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was it hard? Mm-hmm. Yes. Did you mourn it? Mm-hmm. Maybe still a little bit. You're letting go of things so that you can have your life anew. Blessed, enriched are those who yearn for a closer relationship with their spiritual self, for they are guaranteed unlimited opportunities for soul growth. Now, if you want to go into the correct translation, you'll get a little bit of a different blessing. Blessed are those who mourn. To mourn in the original Aramaic means to yearn, to be passionate about, to be eager for something transformative. Blessed are those who yearn for a closer relationship to spirit. Blessed are those who are eager about a breakthrough and growth. Blessed are those who are moving forward on their spiritual path with excitement. Now that's instead of holding on to the past and crying over what we lost, it's saying, I'm ready to go. I'm excited about this growth. I want the truth of my life to be able to manifest so much that I don't even care about the stuff that I have to let go of. Those are just balls and chains weighting me down anyway. I know I can do this. I'm excited about doing this. I'm mourning. It's a whole different word.
It is.
Yes. To mourn in Aramaic means to yearn, to be passionate about something, to be eager for something transformative. I'm so eager about this transformation. How many people have gone to a firewalk? I'm so eager about the breakthrough I'm going to have. I'm so excited about taking this workshop or going to this event because I know that something's going to change in me instead of, oh, I feel so sad that I'm going to have to let go of my old limited beliefs and my old terrible experiences, and it's just so sad. No, that's a victim consciousness. All of a sudden it goes from a victim to a victor. And I'm on top of this, and I'm doing this, and I'm excited, and I'm going to take this by the horns, and I'm going to live it. You see the difference? We mistranslate things. And it took finding those original Aramaic papers. It was so important. I think it was in the 50s that they found them. It was so important that we got the real words, and there are places in the world today that speak Aramaic, the same Aramaic that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written in, the same Aramaic that Jesus spoke. It hasn't really changed. Fascinating stuff. I don't know why this hasn't made it to mainstream, because you can't manipulate and control people.
That's what I was gonna say.
I know. Okay, number 3. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. What do you think that means? What does meek mean to you?
I always thought meek meant humble.
That's from Edwin. That meek translated to humble.
Yeah, but that's what I've kind of always thought.
So before we got meek a la Edwin, what does it mean, blessed are the meek? What is someone to be meek? What is that?
Timid,
Timid, shy,
weak in mind.
quiet, weak in mind, unassuming. Are these the movers and the shakers in life? Are these the people that are going to go and grab their best life ever? No, they're going to wait for someone to hand them a cookie. And if they don't get handed it, they won't have one. And they won't take the last cookie, because that might be for someone more important than them. No, we don't. That's not a virtue. And yet, when I was a kid, I was taught that that was a virtue. That being loud and saying what I wanted and speaking up for myself, those were bad, evil things. That it would be much better if I were meek, if I would just sit there and shut up and not bother anybody. And what
Seen and not heard.
seen and not heard. And what this does in a traditional translation is it tells people to wait, because blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Everything's going to be given to you if you just sit there quietly and wait. And what is that? My phone dialed itself. Isn't that weird?
Scammer did heard you speaking. It's
No, I have Siri turned off.
It's,
okay.
it's
Well,
scammers.
then
It's
fine.
scammers. I've had it happen once.
Well, at any rate, being raised as a female in this culture, they tried to ingrain in me to wait, to pull back, to be quiet, to sit down, to not want, to not need, to not speak up, and all of that. The unspoken promise was, if you do that, you will eventually get what you want. And what I found is that I never got what I want unless I went and I took it, or I created it, or I found it, or I did something to get what I want. So this beatitude has really been used to try to control people, suppress people, and hold them down. And take their power away.
So what
Yes.
was the original meaning for meek, or did they just translate it wrong into meek?
We're working on it. For they shall inherit the earth. What does that mean?
They shall be abundant, have everything they want.
Right, what is earth? A place, and what is a place? A
Consciousness.
state of consciousness. Now, it's not the high, lofty heaven consciousness. What kind of a consciousness is it?
Ground.
It's a lower, it's a grounded, it's the grounds. It's like the sustenance of life. You know, you'll have enough to eat. You'll be okay. Remember when God said to Abram, look to the east, look to the west, and all of this will be yours, and your seed will be more than the sands on the beach and the dirt in the soil. And that was a lot, and that wasn't the whole earth. So they're saying, if you just sit there and shut up, you're going to get what you need, and you'll get a lot of it. Let me make a big promise to you, because I'm asking you to give up a lot. I'm asking you to trust that if you just don't do it yourself, that you're going to be taken care of. And that's not true. You never get taken care of, because your consciousness is such of, I am not worthy to speak up. I don't get to have what I want. I have to wait for someone else to give it to me. And I don't know about you, but nobody came around in my life handing out abundance and prosperity and love and joy to me. The only way I got any of that was to get it, to create it, to find it. So let's look at this now. The word meek is a mistranslation. In the Lamsa idioms of the Bible, it means kindly disposed or bending. Blessed are the kindly disposed. Blessed are the bending. What would the bending be? The flexible. Blessed are those that are flexible. Blessed are those that are kind, because you will inherit the earth. You will have your needs met. Your physical needs will be met. Now, they're not saying you're gonna, go peak experiences up to heaven consciousness, but you're going to have your needs met. You won't have to worry. You won't have to struggle and suffer in life. But then we go into a direct translation, and the word Praeis, praeis, is the actual Aramaic word that was translated to meek, and it means non-resistant or unrestrained receptivity. So, blessed are the non-resistant. Blessed are the flexible people. Blessed are the kind people. Blessed are those that are open and receptive. What do you think you're open and receptive to?
Abundance, love.
Abundance, love, joy. You're
God's
good.
thought.
God's what?
God's thought.
God's thought. You're open and receptive to God's thought. And if you do that, you're always going to have your needs met. You're always going to have the physical supplied to you. Now, isn't that different from sit there and shut up? Be a little flexible. Relax a little bit. Be a nicer person. You'll get more in life if you are. Open up to your good. Bill.
Sorry, they also had the concept of being a vessel. And if your vessel is full already, if you're full of yourself, you're full of all the answers, then you can't be instructed, you can't be part of God's thought
Right.
changing. You have to be empty
It's like-
and waiting to be receptive.
It's like the guy who went to see the yogi master up on the mountaintop. And he was doing an interview, and he sat down and started telling the master all about him, how he writes for this magazine, and he's got these awards and this degree. And the yogi master said, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And oh, yes, yes. So the yogi master gives him a cup of tea, or an empty cup, and starts pouring the tea in it while the guy is talking about himself. And the yogi master fills up the cup, it overflows, and starts pouring all over him. The guy's, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You just poured tea all over me." And he said, "How can I give you anything when your cup is already full?" It's the same thing. So there's a part of letting ourselves be flexible, letting ourselves be teachable, letting ourselves let our ego off the hook, not be narcissistic egomaniacs, not be mean people in the world, and creating some inner space to have that spiritual energy come into our lives. Questions or comments? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. So what does that mean? Hunger?
You want more.
You want
Go
more?
after more.
Thirst? What is water?
Mind.
The moving energy of mind. So you're wanting more of the sustenance of life, spiritual sustenance, let's say, the moving energy of mind for righteousness. What is righteousness? We're just going to do this one on our own. We got no translation for it. Right use. Righteousness. What do you think righteousness is? Right use of what?
Knowledge, awareness.
Awareness, knowledge. Blessed are they who want more spiritual sustenance, more of the energy of moving energy of mind. Blessed are those who want right, what else could you say that is? Integrity.
To be in harmony.
To be in harmony. Metaphysically, righteousness means right thinking. But somebody just made that up, so it could mean that for you or not. So blessed are those who want more right thinking, for they shall be satisfied. How do you get satisfied? You're going to have to talk with
By
you.
getting what you want.
By getting what you want, and how do you get what you want?
Putting it out there, going for it.
What, Ophia?
By thirsting for it.
by going after it. It's not enough just to want something. It's not enough just to be hungry for something, to be thirsty for something, to want more spirituality in your life. You're going to have to do something. One of the translations of this is that righteousness is right thinking. So, blessed are those who crave to think better. I want to think a better thought. I want to catch myself faster. I want to shift my beliefs faster. I want that energy of spirit to touch me and fill me and lift me into a better consciousness, a better mindset. Because if you want that, you're going to do what you need to do to have that, and you're going to get it. So you shall be filled. Judah, speak.
Yes, I'm thinking.
Don't raise
Don't
your
think,
hand
yeah,
till you thought.
I know. No, but sometimes righteousness can be something that's overdone. Or, you know, like it can be a negative thing, you know, when people say, oh, you're so righteous, you know.
Right, but is that the translation that we're using it for? That usually means that you're very opinionated and
Right.
judgmental.
Okay, no,
So-
it's
so
not,
it
but,
differs.
no.
What?
it's-
Self-righteous.
Self-righteous.
Yeah.
So we're not saying blessed are those who are opinionated and manipulative and controlling and think that you're better than everybody else. We're not saying that. We're saying blessed are those who crave that spiritual experience, who want to be filled by spiritual substance. They're hungry for it. They want it. Blessed are those who thirst after that experience of spirit, of mind, of that moving energy of life. Because you'll do what you need to do to create it if you really want it. Breezy.
So, gifted are those who go for what they want?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Hey, we're all interpreters here. We all get to have it mean whatever we want it to mean.
I want to mean I'm blessed.
You are blessed. You are blessed. Any other comments?
Well, I forgot that. Is that the same as yearning in a way?
Sure.
Okay, okay.
And haven't you done that? You yearn for that greater experience. I want to know love. I want to be filled. I want to have whatever spirit is, I want it to touch me. I want that experience. And I will come to classes, I'll come to Sunday, I'll go to practitioners, I'll read books, I'll meditate, I'll treat, I'll do affirmations. I will do whatever it takes to have that experience inside of me. And Jesus is saying, don't worry, you're going to get it. The very fact that you want it like that assures that you're going to get it. Now, when you get to the point where you say, oh, it's not worth it, or this is too much trouble, you don't want it anymore, so you don't get it. And chances are you lose what you get. That's the parable of the talents. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. What does that mean?
You can't give it away unless you have it.
You can't give it away unless you have it. And we're just doing the standard American translation first.
Mm-hmm.
What is mercy?
Compassion.
Compassion,
Kindness.
kindness,
Forgiveness.
forgiveness,
Acceptance.
acceptance. It sounds like kind of a nice way to be in life. Having been not those things, I prefer to be that. And you're right, as soon as you give that out, you get it back. So let's see what the translation really was. What did he really say? The translated word from the original Aramaic, or the original untranslated word is rakhama. R-A-K-H-M-A. You try to pronounce it.
I know, right?
Which means unconditional love. Blessed are those who love unconditionally, for they will receive unconditional love. He's teaching people, you don't get to pick and choose who you love. You know, he hung out with the lepers. He went and hung out with the tax people and the prostitutes and the rich people, caught a lot of flack for some of his friends. But he said, you don't pick and choose who you love. Blessed are those who have figured out to love everybody, because they will be loved. And true, you can't give it away unless without getting it back. So blessed are the merciful, blessed are the kind people, blessed are the compassionate people, blessed are the lovers of the world, because they will live in mercy, in kindness, in compassion, and in love.
These are some of the 613 commandments that are actually in the Old Testament that he's repeating again and bringing forth, and that it's Rachmanis. It's the willingness to give, to be to give to the poor is they're giving you an opportunity to better yourself by giving.
Right, and he studied. I mean, he was a good Jewish boy. He studied all of these things. He hung out at the temples with the rabbis when his parents couldn't find him. And he'd say, "Where are you?" And he's going, "Where else would I be? I'm at the temple. That's where I belong." Come on in, Jane.
Thanks.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall
Inherit the earth.
For they shall see God. Yes. What do you think that means? What is pure?
Clean.
Clean.
Higher thoughts,
Higher thoughts.
non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental. Same as meek. Unconditional love.
You can have confused desires based on not the best of intentions, and the people who want things and bring things forth need to be of the highest integrity, need to be correct, to want it for the right reasons.
Right, right. You don't want to be a used car, not that there's anything wrong with used car salesmen, but you don't want to be a used car salesman on your spiritual path. You don't want to try to con people, you don't want to try to get one over. I always marvel when some kind of a multi-level marketing thing comes through the center. This center is a no-sale zone because of those. No selling of anything on center grounds other than books. That's all that we sell. And people come in and they will, this is the way to true spiritual wealth. We had a practitioner once who someone went to for treatment for prosperity, and they were actually told by that practitioner, the only way you're going to have prosperity is if you sell all of your possessions and buy into my multi-level marketing plan. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you can't have one foot in the spiritual realm and one foot in the gimme, how am I gonna get? You know, one foot in oneness and one foot in duality, it doesn't work. You will not see God if you do that. But if you have a pure heart, then you will. So if you have a pure love, a pure way of seeing people, it goes right back to the previous one. Blessed are the meek, blessed are those who love unconditionally, who love the whole world, who love everybody. You're going to get loved right back because you can't sit in the water and not get wet. It's going to happen. Blessed are those who have a pure heart. It's saying the same thing. For you're going to see God. And what does that mean to see God?
Have your consciousness raised.
Have your consciousness raised? Where do you think you're going to see God? Where else might you see God? If you have a pure heart, you're going to see the presence of the divine inside of you and inside of everyone else. And that is pretty cool. Speak, Breezy.
Can you repeat the one again? For the pure in heart, for they,
Shall see God.
thank you.
So in the Lamsa idioms of the Bible, the pure in heart actually means pure in mind. The word was translated to heart, but it's truer translated to mind. And in the original Aramaic, the word, which was datsion, it's a spiritual perspective. It's referring to an enlightened mind. So somebody along the way said, oh, pure in heart, that makes a lot of sense. Had to be a real feeling kind of, touchy-feeling kind of scribe translating all of these things. And what it's really a truer translation is, blessed are the pure in mind, blessed are those who look at everything with a spiritual perspective. That's it. That was it. I thought there was a third one, but there isn't. Now, how does that change it for you? It doesn't, Sherry? You're shaking your head no?
It means about the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
I would say
it
so.
does.
Yeah.
So blessed are they that see things on a spiritual plane. Because if you see things on a spiritual plane, what are you going to see? God. Who said that? God. Blessed are those who look for God, because if you look for God, you're going to find God. If you see from a spiritual perspective, you're going to see the presence of God. And that's all it says, is you shall see God. RJ?
Did he have a different translation of the term see God?
No. No, and it's not in there. I got all of them. Well, what would see God be for you?
Yeah, you could describe it, but I'm just curious if you had a different perspective on it.
No, not that I know of. Did you guys used to read Rocco Errico's article in the Science of Mind magazine for decades?
Oh, yeah.
He was a personal student of George Lambsa. So all of his Bible awareness stuff came from George Lambsa, and he was also very Jewish still, so he had that whole background of the culture and the mindset that comes from the Jewish traditions. There was great articles every month in the magazine. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This one I have always had issues because, well, tell me, what do you think that means?
Blessed are those who have right thinking.
Right, but what does it mean on the surface? The standard American translation. Blessed are those who are persecuted.
People who are shunned because of their beliefs or empathetic or get negative feedback because of their beliefs.
Right?
They're persecuted.
People who are persecuted. It's not just negative feedback, they're persecuted. What does persecuted mean?
Typically, it's a physical thing.
Punished, tortured, attacked, separated. Maybe they they don't get to live in a good part of town. Maybe they don't get to own property. Maybe they're slaves. You know, there's a whole persecution of Christians in the Mideast, which thousands and thousands and thousands of them have been killed in various ways. There's a genocide going on with Christians in the Mideast right now. So that's a persecution. Now, if I'm in that physical harm, someone's trying to either take everything that I own or kill me or something like that, and I know that blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, then I'm going to put up with a lot more than I would if I didn't have that promise that I'm going to get goodies in the afterlife.
People were often put to death in a show in the Colosseums, and there were many Colosseums, not just
Sure,
the
Daniel
one in
and
Rome, and they were often put to death sort of for being Jewish, or the worst yet, being Christian among Jews.
That was
They were
Paul's
troublesome.
Paul's job was to get rid of the Christians. So if I'm saying, well, I'm a woman in this society and I'm persecuted, there's a glass ceiling, I'm going to make 70 cents on the dollar, I'm not going to be able to have my opinions listened to or valued, I don't have the clout that men have in this society, but I'm just going to be meek and I'm just going to take it and sit there and be quiet so that I don't make waves, because I'm sure that sooner or later someone's going to come around and I'll inherit the earth, or I'll have the kingdom of heaven. Is that kind of a person going to change their circumstances? No. These are not the people that make waves. And so when we tell people that you are blessed by being downtrodden, by being put down, by being limited, by being robbed and hurt, that's really a blessing. You should be grateful for that, because you're going to get brownie points in heaven. That's a crowd control kind of a mindset. And it's been used to control the crowds and for people to say, well, I may be, not getting this job because of my beliefs, but I'm proud of my beliefs and I'd rather not have that old job anyway. Instead of, I'm going to sue you for not hiring me for my beliefs because I can have any kind of a belief that I want and you cannot discriminate against me because of that. So that's in the standard American modern day model. And people more and more have come up with, this is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to tell people that they should enjoy being persecuted, they should enjoy being hurt because for righteousness' sake. So that's the standard American model. Now, if we're looking at righteousness again, then what is that? What did we say that was?
Right thinking.
Right thought. What else did we say it was?
Right use of mind.
Right use of mind. What did you say it was?
Right use.
Right use. Right use. So, blessed are they who are persecuted for right thinking. Now, who's going to persecute you for right thinking?
Somebody who thinks it's right.
Somebody who doesn't think like you do.
Wrong thing. But
This is inferring to a person, and a person means what? Thought. So what kind of thoughts are going to persecute you for right thinking?
Well, sometimes your own thoughts.
Your own thoughts. So let's put our metaphysical hats on here. Hang in there, people. Don't give up. Blessed are they who go crazy trying to think the right way because these old ideas rear their ugly head and say, you can't do that, that'll never work, you shouldn't do that, you're too big for your britches, nobody's going to like you if you do that. They're saying, don't worry about it, there's a blessing in here, because if you stay at it, if you keep at it, you will master your thinking, you will live the righteous life, whatever that means, and you will what?
Prosper.
You will
Flourish.
yours will be the kingdom of heaven. So it's not the earth, you're not going to inherit the earth, yours will be the kingdom. Kingdom is what? A place is what? Consciousness. Because your consciousness will be what? The best, the highest. So what it's saying is, when you decide to do some right thinking here, don't be surprised if all of these subconscious thoughts rear their ugly heads and decide to form an army and come at you. Because that's the way the mind works. It wants to keep thinking the old thoughts, the stinking thinking, the Goliath. And it's up to us to stand clear in our thinking, right thinking, and to not fall down and to not back off and to not give up. And if we do that, we will master our thinking and we will live in, ours is, the kingdom of heaven. We're not even inheriting it. It's ours. This is where we live. This is who we are. This is a don't give up kind of blessing. But when you take it from the way that we think of persecution and being persecuted because of our spiritual beliefs, but keep a stiff upper lip, because there are brownie points down the road, and that when you change, don't be surprised that resistance comes up, and it's your job not to give up, not to give in, but to stand up and to get over and triumph into your new consciousness, because the new consciousness is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be living in the kingdom of heaven. And now let's look at the actual translation. Persecuted comes from the Aramaic word diatridepo, which means restraining from temptation. So, blessed are those who restrain from temptation for right thinking. Blessed are those who are doing right thinking and they restrain themselves from temptation. You're not going to give into it. If you decide to go on a diet or an eating plan, you're not going to give into the ice cream truck because it pulls up on the street next to you. You've got some discipline, you've got some courage, you've got some inner strength going on. You can stay the course to get to where you want to go. And if you do that, if you decide to change your thoughts, to change your consciousness, to change how you see the world, you're going to be meek, you're going to love unconditionally, you're going to see God everywhere in everything. If you do that over and over and over again, you're going to inherit the earth, you're going to live in the kingdom of heaven. The rewards for all of this spiritual growth will be huge. And that's the way Jesus started off his ministry, with those bits of words of wisdom. And it would often say, for those who have ears to hear, meaning there are two different levels here. There's the exoteric, the surface level, and then there's the inner esoteric meaning of that. So think about it, go a little deeper, and see if you can't have some tools that will change your life. Ophia.
Did we skip the peacemakers?
Oh, did I skip the peacemakers?
Yes, you did.
Ah, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. What does that mean? Peacemakers,
They'll be the wise ones.
wise because they make peace? Okay. What else? What are peacemakers?
To live in harmony.
To live in harmony,
To love everybody.
to love everybody.
To present the silver lining when other people are seeing the dark storm.
To present the silver lining. I kind of look at it as a diplomat. Diplomats are not, they're not meek, they're not powerless. They explore different options to try to come up with some kind of a compromise. They're not coming from this is my way, it's my way or the highway. It's often how can we work this out together? So understanding.
Create peace.
To create peace, to allow peace to be instead of insisting on war.
Yeah.
Right, right.
For they shall be what?
They shall be called the sons of God. So what is a son? What kind of a, oh, speak, say it.
A thought,
What kind of a thought?
well, if it's a son of God, it would be a very high consciousness thought.
So a son though, what kind of a thought is that?
Masculine.
And what is a child?
A thought. It's the type of thoughts you have.
So we have parents, we had Abraham and Sarah, who had Isaac. Abraham was a thought, Sarah was a thought, and Isaac was what? Well, what is a son, though? What is a child? We just had Father's Day.
Joy, it was joy.
What? A descendant. You know, the child physically has the DNA of both parents. So in the metaphysical interpretation of it, the child thought has the qualities of the parent. Isaac was joy because Sarah was God laughed, and Abraham was light or something like that. It came together and made joy. So what would the son
Father of multitudes.
what would the Son of God be? It would have the same qualities as God, right? And you would be called the Son of God. So what would you be called?
You'd be called God.
You'd be called God. You'd be called the Christ. You would be called the Enlightened One. Blessed are the peacemakers. Peacemakers meaning someone who's going to look at it from both sides, someone who's going to try to work something out that is inclusive instead of let's just go bomb them. You know, let's do something to have peace, although I got to say David was a peacemaker. David was a peacemaker because he took his stones of truth and took out the aggressive energy of Goliath. So it doesn't always look like sitting around a campfire singing Kumbaya, but David was willing to put his own life at risk to be able to save the lives of everybody else. That's a peacemaker. That's the surface explanation. Now the translation The word that was translated to peacemaker, which is an expression, it's called abde shlama, which means through service, work consciously to find inner peace. So where are we making peace? Blessed are they that make peace within. Blessed are they that work tirelessly to be at peace inside of themselves. It's not a 9-to-5 job. Blessed are they who work on themselves to be at peace, and if you're at peace, what's going to happen to your world? Your world will be at peace. And when you are at peace and your world is at peace, then you're going to have those qualities of the divine alive and well within you. Questions? Comments? All right, let's take a break. We're doing the Lord's Prayer next.
We're not gonna finish.
We didn't finish?
We have one more. He said there was 9 of them.
Yeah. And then again, blessed are those who are persecuted. That's 8. Where's 9?
No, she's got 9 of them.
Yeah, let's. So we have one more beatitude that I forgot. And I lost. Here it is. Blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for so men persecuted the prophets who were before you.
Ignore what everybody thinks.
It sounds a lot like the one before. I think that's why I thought we finished it. So who are men? Thoughts, male thoughts, very outward-moving thoughts, because feminine thoughts are more inward. So very outward-moving thoughts that are reviling you and persecuting you and uttering all kinds of evil against you falsely. Have you ever had thoughts in your head that just flat out lied to you?
Yeah.
You're no good, you don't deserve this, you're not good enough, you can't have this, you're not worthy. Those are the thoughts that are being talked about. Rejoice and be glad. Oh, another thing from my subjective has come up so that I can heal it. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. Where's heaven? Inside, it's a state of consciousness, for so were the prophets of old prosecuted. So what he's saying is you're moving into, what were prophets? They were seers.
The people who spoke God's truth.
Spoke God's truth. They were pretty high consciousness people, weren't they? So they're saying, look, the path is not going to be clear. This is not going to be easy. If you want to achieve a high state of consciousness, you're going to have things come up inside of you that try to knock you down. You're going to have limiting beliefs. You're going to have old ideas. You're going to have old ideas about yourself that are going to say, you can't do this, you don't deserve this, you're not good enough, it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Rejoice and be glad. Raise your energy. It's like Abraham says, raise your energy into that experience of joy, and you will be demonstrating joy. Don't buy into it. Don't fall down. Don't get hooked by your own thoughts. Lift your consciousness. Be in your joy, because the people who have gone before you and achieved higher states of consciousness, called the prophets, they all went through that. So don't worry about it. Did you ever go to a 12-step program and they said, oh, that's nothing. You gotta hear what I went through. And you feel better, right? So this is saying, great is your reward in heaven, and all the prophets have gone through this. If you want to be a prophet, you're going to need to clean out these old limiting thoughts, and they're going to come up for you to clean them out, so be happy about it. If you're not happy about it, you get hooked. Does that make sense? That was the last one. This is actually on our website. Some of you who have been around for a while might recognize it. And even though this is already interpreted, I thought we'd go over it. You got more? We need more over here.
There's a couple right here, skip some here.
They're right behind you. Baby. There you go. Yeah. Does anybody know who wrote this? John. John wrote this. He did a whole talk on it. I searched the internet for metaphysical interpretation of the Lord's Prayer, and our website came up. And I clicked it on and went, I remember that. So the standard words are on the left. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. That is a standard King James version of the Lord's Prayer.
But there's another, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
The King James is trespasses.
Oh.
I think Catholic is debts.
No. Catholic is this one.
Catholics don't use the Bible, do they? They don't. Yeah, right.
Just change that, lead us not into
Forever.
temptation.
What do you mean the Pope just changed that?
The Pope just
She's right.
came out in the news, the Pope does not like that, lead us not into temptation.
Well, it's a bad translation.
Right.
If you go to the Lamsa Bible, the correct translation is let us not enter into temptation.
That's basically what it changed it to. Not
Well, he didn't change it. That's the way it was written in the
No, I'm
Aramaic.
just saying, it's always been this way for.
It goes from this sadistic anthropomorphic deity that's going to trick us into temptation and then burn us forever to, hey, watch our back. If we get a little stupid and we start going into temptation, could you give us a hand here? Don't let us enter into temptation. A whole different mindset.
And we used to change it, instead of lead us, we used to say leave us.
Leave us in temptation?
And
Leave us not.
Oh, leave us not.
Leave us not.
That was funny. So, our Father is what? What is Father?
Divine.
Let's go back. What is a person? A thought. So what is a father? What kind of a thought? A thought that we come from.
Yeah.
A thought that we come from. Physically, we come from our parents. So this is talking about a physical concept, but metaphysically it's a thought, but it's a thought that we come from. So, who art where?
In
In heaven. Where is heaven? And what is heaven?
Higher consciousness.
It's a high state of consciousness. The thought that we have come from in that high state of consciousness. And so what John wrote was presence of divine love and light that lives within us and within all life. He did not take this class to get all of the metaphysical stuff. He was going strictly from his intuition. Is there anything you would add to that? No. Okay, silence. I'll take silence as a no. Hallowed be thy name. What is hallowed?
Sacred.
Sacred.
Honored.
Honored.
Glorified.
Sacred, divine, be thy, what is name? Nature. Sacred is your nature. Your nature is sacred. That thought that I have come from, that is in that high state of consciousness. I come from a high state of consciousness thought that is sacred, that is holy. And John wrote, we invoke the powerful creative nature of all that is sacred and holy. The kingdom,
Place, which is consciousness.
a state of consciousness. Is kingdom gonna be a high state or a low state of consciousness?
High.
It doesn't say the ghetto come, the kingdom. And it's thy kingdom, so whose kingdom is it? Well, we're talking about that thought that we come from, the energy that moves and has its being as us. That kingdom, it doesn't say the kingdom is coming, it's come, it's here, it's present tense, it is here now.
That's why the will is there too.
That's why what?
That's why the will is done too.
Right, you jumped forward. Yeah. So the kingdom is now. It's here now. We embrace the healing essence that is the kingdom of heaven within us. You want to add anything to that? You don't have to wait for the kingdom. You don't have to be better than you are today for the kingdom. You don't have to get rid of any part of you for the kingdom. It's here.
But in the, old times when I didn't know all of this other, thy kingdom come, to me meant it was out there somewhere and it had to come.
Right,
It wasn't here yet.
right. That's why we retranslate all of this.
Yeah.
So thy will be done. What does that mean?
Well, if the kingdom is here, then God's will is here.
What is God's will?
Our thought.
Whatever you,
Good is done.
what you believe is good.
Okay. What would will be?
Probably.
It's our,
So thought is our consciousness.
Desire?
Desire is good.
Pardon me?
Desire?
That which drives us.
Intention? Acceptance.
What about the law?
There you go.
The presence of the divine is right here. And the spiritual law of the universe will always operate. The law, that's what I would see it as. That I come from a thought that is so high in consciousness that it is heaven. And it is holy. And that's what I am. It is here and now. And as that, there's also this spiritual movement going on. This spiritual law that's not capricious, it's not whimsical, it's not going to give one day and take away the other. What do you think? Since I just made that up. Yeah?
Well, I think good is the same as law. Our good is our law that we're doing,
The word is will. Thy will be done.
Yeah,
So where's good?
and thy good be done.
Okay. You would say thy good be done instead of thy will. Okay, thy good be done. That's kind of nice in a dualistic way. So we accept our greatest good. Well, this is so dualistic, We gotta keep bringing it in, We accept our greatest good as we align with our divine nature. And in aligning with our divine nature, that we are the thought from this high spiritual consciousness that is heaven, that is holy, that is here. And as we open up to that, the spiritual law unfolds and we demonstrate good in our life. We can look at it like something is being done to us, but that's not what's happening. We are opening up to our divine nature and it demonstrates as wonderful things in our life. Speak.
I just wouldn't say thy, I just say good be done.
Well, of course not. This is Bible. We're stuck with the thys.
Thou knowest it.
On earth as it is in heaven. What's earth?
place,
A lower state of consciousness, more, remember Esau and Jacob. Esau was the more earthly, primal, animalistic sense, sold his birthright for a bowl of lentils.
Yeah.
So on earth, in the lower, as it is in in the higher. It doesn't matter whether it's the lower states or the higher states, that the presence of the divine is everywhere. You don't have a place where God is and a place where God is not. The phrase is, there is no spot where God is not. As a negative, then spirit is everywhere. Spirit is ubiquitous. I love that word. Spirit is everywhere.
And if we use that in corollary with the previous one, where will means law, it says law, spiritual laws active at the highest level and at the lowest level.
Right.
It's personal, always there.
Yes, yes, well done. So the new translation is knowing that the affairs of our lives reflect our evolving consciousness. I love you so much, Jane. Yes, the affairs of your life reflect your evolving consciousness. They really do. Haven't the affairs in your life gotten better?
Well, I'm thinking about that right now.
Give us this day our daily bread. What does that mean?
We will always be taken care of.
We will always be taken care of.
Isn't it kind of like the, what was it, a couple classes ago with
The manna.
the
manna.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The manna from heaven. Trust and faith, knowing that your needs are always going to be met, that you have everything that you need. Yeah, that's nice.
The word seems so demanding, yet if it's almost like spiritual line treatment.
I love demanding. I love placing a demand upon the givingness of the universe. I place a demand on that, and the law has to respond. It's not meek. It's not pulled back. It's assertive. It's dynamic. It's moving. And when I'm creating something, I want to have all this energy go into that creation. I demand the manifestation of my thought, and I will not accept anything less. I love to be demanding.
You're very good.
Each day we receive great blessings from within and throughout all the activities of our lives. So we can relax and know that things are going to show up, because we come from a thought that is holy. It is a high state of consciousness. The kingdom of God is here. That presence of divine spirit is right here. We don't have to wait for it. We don't have to turn in to get something. And the law is operating on what we're putting out, and we will get everything that we need every day.
And it's because the thought is all powerful.
Yes, and because the consciousness has changed. The consciousness includes your subconscious thoughts as well as your conscious thoughts. And that's the work you do. You work over and over and over again, not just to change your conscious thought, but to change your belief systems, to change your defaults, to change the subjective, subconscious mindset that really is the creative mover and shaker in you. You know, I'm doing all these affirmations, but I still bounce to check. Well, that's because deep down you've got a belief in poverty and that you should be punished with an overdraft charge, and that you really can't do this. So that's the thing we have to change. And we do it by being willing to put the work in, and when those subjective thoughts come up, we don't give up. We just look at them and we are in our joy. Oh, joy, another subjective negative belief system has revealed itself for me to heal. Heal.
Is the line you're working on and forgive us our trespasses?
Not yet.
Okay.
But we can go there.
Okay.
And forgive us our trespasses or our debts, as we forgive those who trespassed against us, or as we forgive our debtors. So what does that mean?
Only to the extent that you
Letting go of
forgive a person, you're going to be forgiven.
Yes. To the extent that you are a forgiving person, you will be forgiven. Wonderful. Pardon me?
Meter for meter. In
Meter
other
for
words,
meter.
Whatever you're going to forgive, then they're going to forgive you that much.
Whatever you
No
put out
more
is
than-
what you get. Yes, Agatha.
I'm saying letting go of all the things that you feel like you didn't do right and or somebody else didn't do right. Stop
Really?
judging yourself.
Stop judging yourself. Because who trespasses against you?
You.
You. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your lower thoughts?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that what they are they, and that's.
Sure, they're persecuting you. They're
Yeah.
trespassing on you.
That's right.
That's right, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sophia.
Actually, in that light, it kind of brings up that study where they had college students who failed the test. The ones who forgave themselves were much more likely to actually study for the next test. So it's the idea of like, just let it go, try again.
Let it go, let it go. Yes. RJ.
In a lot of religious groups, they use the word sins, forgive us our sins, and if sin just means missing the mark, forgive myself, I missed the mark.
Right.
Go.
Right, you go out to the archery course and you don't hit the bullseye. Okay, well, get another arrow. Bill.
This basically is a restatement of the law in a time when there aren't laws. The laws are what the king says. You know, as the Pharaoh would say, let it be done, so it's written, so let it be done.
Make it so, number 2.
That was the law. And then Hammurabi came out with his code of laws, and then it's not till 1215 that you get the Magna Carta, which only applied to landowners and noblemen in England. So, in reality, with America a long way in the distance, and that freedom that you had, that you referred to as I'll sue you, you know, that's only in America, that's only very recent.
Mm-hmm.
Your beliefs were absolutely something that could be held against you with
Right.
a good deal of ease.
Right.
And it's only evolved with this country, and I mean, I remember that when I applied originally to law schools, some of them had Jewish quotas. They just had so many that they were not letting in anymore.
Mm-hmm. This country has done amazing growth. A lot of people say, you know, we're not perfect yet. No, but boy, have we come a long way in my lifetime. We've come a long way. So, we accept the divine nature of all things and all people, including ourselves, as we move away from judgment and toward a greater awareness of divine presence.
Christ in you, recognize Christ in you.
Namaste. Yes, yes. And lead us not into temptation, which again is a mistranslation. What would you do with that?
Have a lot of fun.
We shall be vigilant in expressing and experiencing the oneness with all life. And I would translate it to, do not let us enter into temptation. As if something outside of us could, but if you look at it as the thought from which we came, that is holy, that has the kingdom of heaven right here and right now, that has divine spiritual law moving through it, that gives us everything that we could possibly ever need, that is not going to let us enter into temptation, because that thought is us. We are the son, the offspring of that higher thought. It is what we are. We're not going to lead ourselves into temptation, and we are not going to enter into temptation. And if we do, we will simply say, oops, and start all over again and let it go. But deliver us from evil. What's up with that? Evil.
Deliver us from fear and pain.
From fear and pain. Deliver us from fear and pain.
Oh, this evil temptation, I was just thinking about that. What is temptation?
What is temptation?
Does it have to be a bad thing?
No.
I'm tempted to love you. I think in this context it's a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. We can make it anything we want. Lead us into temptation of love. Lead us into temptation of prosperity. Lead us into temptation of wholeness. Lead us into temptation of joy. You wanna be led into temptation? Go into that temptation.
Lead us into desire.
Lead us into desire, desire of the Father. It is that higher consciousness whispering, you know chocolate is holy. As we are learning to live without fault-finding and suffering. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Now, thine is referring to that thought from which we come. Our Father, that thought that we are an offspring of in this dualistic scenario. Even metaphysically, it's got a lot of dualism in it. That is a heavenly consciousness. That consciousness from which I come, my essence, the life that lives me, the love that loves me, the light that shines through me, is the kingdom, the place, the power, the glory, forever. Always was, always will be. That's who I am. This is a prayer that says, hey, I know who I am. Let me tell you who I am. I come from this amazingly spiritual, high consciousness place that has heaven on earth. I come from a trust and a faith that I know that my needs are always met. I come from an assurance that there is a creative process that is showing up, a reflection of my consciousness in all the areas of my life. I let go of small stuff, and it's all small stuff, and I keep the path of truth and clarity, and I know that all is well in my world, because I'm hot stuff. I'm the power, I'm the kingdom, I'm the glory. That's what his prayer is. That's what his prayer is. It's a kick-ass prayer. For we accept the consciousness of divine perfection with all its power and glory right here, right now, and forever. And the last word is amen, and it translates to, and so it is. So do you want to say, Mama?
I've heard that the Lord's Prayer, when you say it slowly, that it vibrates with each of the chakras in the body, and it's also to lift the vibration.
Well, who in here has heard Dale Hoffman do it in Aramaic?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. The vibration of those traditional Aramaic words really do fill the room, and it's a very powerful experience. You can go online, probably YouTube, and Google Dale Hoffman Lord's Prayer and hear him do that. Any comments? Did you enjoy the Beatitudes and the Lord's Prayer?
Yes.
Thank you for sticking with us, because it's hot in here. You're not hot? I'm sweating like crazy. The microphone is soaking wet. So next week we're doing parables. If you have any particular parables that you like, I love the prodigal son. I love the talents. You know, if you've got any that you really love, let me know, but let me know soon. Because don't come into class next week and say, tell us about this. Betty.
So you said there's one class left?
Yes.
What are we gonna be doing after that?
Well, we have a 2-week break, and then we have the Summer Prosperity class start on July 8th. Jane?
I would like to request the prodigal son, because
Yeah, we're going to do the prodigal
it
son.
really makes me mad. It's
Nothing makes you mad. Tipper didn't make you mad. The prodigal son doesn't make you mad. Anger is a defense mechanism that you have. But you will find that you are the prodigal son, and that it is a wonderful story.
well, yeah, but this kid.
No but. Reverend Ike said, get your butt out of the way.
And the older brother is there, you know, working and helping and.
You will find that you are also the older brother.
Can I just share a personal experience about the prodigal son?
Sure.
Well, when I went to work at a Christian hospital, we were told, do not talk about anything Eastern, right? I mean, that's blasphemy, right? And so,
Don't talk about anything, what?
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, got it.
Other philosophy other than strict Christianity. So anyway, one of the chaplains came up to me and we were talking about the prodigal son. And I said, well, I used to work with addicts and we always use that as, the son comes back, we have a feast, my son is lost and now he's found, and it was a really beautiful kind of story. And he looked at me and he said, do you know what Buddha's story is about the prodigal son? And I thought it was a trick. I thought it was a trick that I'd be fired if I even acted like I knew who Buddha was, And I said, no. And he said, Buddha made the son work his way back. And I said, really? But I wasn't, but for me it was like, oh my gosh, this is a trick, to get me to talk about Buddha.
I've never heard Buddha's story about the prodigal son where he makes the son work his way back. I don't know that.
Well, I don't know either, but this was one of our chaplains who actually worked in India for a long time, and he said that was the Buddhist version of the prodigal son, is the son had to work his way back.
Yeah, I'd rather just be welcomed back.
Oh, I know. You mean to I just thought it was interesting.
Thank you, Brenda. Bill.
I was just going to say, live long and prosper. And remember that he got that from his Hebrew school.
He got what?
He got that from his Hebrew school.
Live long and prosper?
Yeah, it's directly out of the prayers and things that the priests say. He was Jewish and he got it right out of it.
Live long and prosper is Jewish.
Only the Cohens are supposed to be able to do that.
The Cohen, not the
Cohens are the priests, so.
I thought it was a Zen Kohen. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Anything else?
Nope.
You clear there, Judah? Clear. I'm looking for that right now. Take out what you're gonna give. And what I know is that there is a presence and a power. There is a light and a love. There is a joy that is where we have come from. We're never separated from it because it is what we are. It is the energy of life, the energy of love, the energy of joy manifesting itself in us as us is us now. And I know that we choose to walk this walk on earth from that high state of consciousness, that kingdom of heaven within, as we walk this spiritual path with an open heart, an open mind. The words that come from our mouths are in alignment with who we are, and the thoughts and the deeds that we do are in alignment with the God self that we are. And so we walk in peace, we walk in joy, and we walk in love. And I know that as we give this gift tonight, we give it from that consciousness of peace and joy and love. And as we give this gift, it blesses everyone at this center, everyone that watches us online, and it blesses our life. Because as we give, we receive. And so the energy of spiritual law takes this gift, multiplies it, and returns it back to us. I know that each one of us comes together this night to make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. And I know that everything in these baskets is blessed, because every time we give anything, that which we are goes with our gift. You cannot separate yourself from what you give. Whether you give a smile or a word of encouragement whether you give large sums of money, whether you give a chance. That energy that you are travels out into the world with your gift, with your thought. And so I see it as golden light pouring forth from each and every one of us, filling up this room from the floor to the ceiling, all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. And as Spirit moves in our lives, things happen. So right here and right now, we are touched, we are blessed, and we are healed. And I know that we cannot keep this energy locked up, so it's got to go on out and travel around this world to touch, to bless, and to heal every being on this planet, man, woman, child, four-legged, winged one, swimmer, skimmer, creepy crawlers. They're all blessed. And then the energy shoots out into the heavens to continue to touch and to bless and heal wherever it goes, all because we decided to show up, to open up, and to give. And so I know that that energy is always here and always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you guys. Have a wonderful week.
You too.